Hello everybody, my name is Kath Woolridge. I'm from the Sound of Wales Creative Collective, and I just want to come and make some short videos to encourage you on how you can engage in creative worship in this time where we are unable to sing together. My first idea is called gathering around a poem or creative prose. And there are so many out there, poets, modern poets like Gerard Kelly. I'm going to be biased and say my husband, Di Woolridge. There's Phil Knox, who does some storytelling ideas, and you can find all of these online, but I'm going to give an example. Today we're going to gather around a poem called Because He Is Risen by Gerard Kelly, and this is a poem that is really inspiring. So you could get a person in your church who read this out, maybe someone who is creative or someone who is good at reading. If you wanted to, you could even put a PowerPoint together for this poem so that it is visually stimulating as well as auditory. So here's the poem, okay? Because He is risen, spring is possible in all the cold, dark places that are gripped by winter. And freedom jumps the queue to take fear's place as our focus. And my future is an epic novel where once it was a short story, because He is risen. And because He is risen, healing is on order and assured, and every disability will dance before the endless dance of His ability, because He is risen. And my grave too will open, for this frail and fragile body will not be the final word on my condition, because He is risen. And because He is risen, hunger will go begging on the streets for want of a home, and selfishness will have a shortened shelf life. And we will throng to the funeral of famine and dance on the callous grave of war, and poverty will be made history in our history, because He is risen. And because He is risen, a fire burns in my bones, and my heart hears hope, and the song that rises within me will not be silenced in this shadowed place of death, because He is risen. And after you have got someone to read that poem, perhaps what you could do is play on your iPod or on your sound system some instrumental music, classical, or there's some worship instrumental music out there on YouTube. If you type that in, and under every seat you could have a simple piece of paper with a pen that just looks like this: because He is risen. And in that moment, you could get your congregation, the people who are gathered, to have a moment where they meditate and they worship. Because He is risen, ... What does that mean for me today? And get them in that moment to write it down on their piece of paper and make that an act of worship where in gratitude they thank God for the fact that they have crossed from death to life because of the resurrection. And then what you could potentially do is have some statements on the screen that maybe your pastor or your leader has collected beforehand from members of your congregation. We involve the children, because He is risen, and have, you know, what that means to them with their name and their age underneath, and then get the whole congregation to then respond with He is risen indeed. And then over the system, maybe you can end by just playing these songs are just examples of resurrection songs: Living Hope, Praise the Name, What a Beautiful Name. You can get them on YouTube. I know it'll be hard not to sing, but we can just sing in your heart. But that's just one idea of a creative way in which you could engage with this incredible God in this time where we may not be able to raise our voices, but we can raise our hearts.